Hello and welcome back to the Thesideescape Gaming Podcast, episode 79. I'm your host, Jake Burke, and joined, as always, by James St. Charles, and sometimes I get Ted Libby on the show, but more importantly, we have a guest on our show who was also on last week. We didn't record in the same night. That's not what we do. Ted has a different hat on. Gunner
Completely new man.
Gunner Gualco, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Great.
I'm doing really, really great, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, on a new night.
Good to have you here.
Yeah. Another night. Another week.
Another week.
You know, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. James, give me just one thing you're thankful for this year.
I'm thankful for you, Jake.
Oh, James, I was really hoping you'd say me. I'm thankful for you too. You want to know why, James? Because this is the 79th episode of the Thesideescape Gaming Podcast, where every Monday morning a new episode goes live on YouTube.com, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Once a week, we Discord over 500 miles to talk about a video game related topic and what we are playing. Today, we are talking about our favorite video game consoles. Pretty much what we're thankful for. Now, Ted, you wanted to set some fucking ground rules.
Okay, yeah, I did. Well, I was just curious. First question for this favorite console business, because I know this is technically personal preference, but it's not. It's subjective, and we're going to judge each other for it.
Fair enough. Okay.
Does mobile console count?
I think they do. James said no before we started.
Oh, contention.
I feel like handhelds are in a different category, except for the Switch, which is a console.
Handhelds are in a different category. All right, I'll rate my favorite. The Game Boy, and the DS.
The Game Boy.
The DS was great.
Yeah, the DS was great.
Yeah.
There's 4 handheld consoles.
Okay, so and the PSP and the PS Vita. You own a Vita.
Okay, that's true. I do own a Vita.
You own a Vita.
I gave.
You were proud to own a Vita.
Yeah, I gave it to him.
Yeah, he gave it to me. I was given somebody else's refuse.
Ted looked at it when I gave it to him. He was like, "Thanks." And you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
You've played it twice.
I know I played it more than that, but never anything modern.
We're talking physical consoles, the ones that you just blast on your TV.
Yeah.
You know what? You can say Game Boy if it's the attachment for the GameCube, where you can play Game Boy Advance games. That's what's fun.
Okay, fine. The Game Boy attachment.
Okay, question number 2.
Which was great. That was so fun.
Historical context? Are we caring about that, or is this just purely like...
It's your favorite.
What your favorite is.
Whatever you want that to mean, Ted.
Didn't even have to own it.
No, this could be your favorite.
Yeah.
Okay.
The concept of it could be really cool.
So what do you mean by historical context? Like, how well it did historically?
Yeah.
Did it win the Battle of 1992?
Because I think when this idea was thrown around, it was favorite and or best.
Yeah, I mean,
so it can be either.
It could be your best.
We're just talking about fucking consoles, Gunner.
I feel like it's hard to be the best when it's like the newest one's kind of always the best. But you know, in terms of it's your personal, it's your favorite.
Incorrect. It's so not true.
Ted, what is
the Steam Deck is the best console?
Boom! You can play God of War on mobile, so it is the best console.
It's mobile. It doesn't count.
Oh,
but you can hook it up. It's like a Switch. I said Switch is fine.
Checkmate.
It's basically a Switch.
It's delayed. All right. Anyway. I want to start with Ted, because Ted's Mr. Picky Pants over here.
I told you I didn't make a list. A Tamagotchi. Oh, it's mobile. Never mind.
How are you so unprepared for a show?
It literally has a keychain.
So much time.
So it's like the most mobile thing possible.
Epitome of a mobile console.
I know.
You know what? Gunner, go first. I'm making the call. Gunner, guest goes first.
Give me a console. And if we all have it on our list, we can talk about it together.
Yes.
I think.
And don't pick the Dreamcast.
Please don't.
Please
he was
don't.
going to pick the Dreamcast.
Oh my God. The Dreamcast. Go ahead.
It's on my list. Okay, so I was actually going to say the 360.
It's on my list as well.
Which I'm sure it's on everybody's list.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I think it was the first, like, really social console.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
like,
it was, yeah.
That I will always remember those nights, like, playing World at War, like, zombies with
Hell yeah.
Ted and James. And, you know, like, Halo 3. And
Halo 3, yep.
The party system. And
I was going to say, do you remember, like, how fucking everything changed when the party system got introduced? We could play different games.
Next
and talk
level.
to each other.
Yeah, because at first you could only do voice chat with like one person, but then once the party happened, it was like, you could get the lobbies going. It was fun.
Well, and also, the Xbox 360 was the first like internet connected social console, and they built an ecosystem that I'm gonna just say has never really been that fruit. We've never really seen that since because everything's so integrated.
Yeah.
Where it's like you have a little avatar character, and when you're in a party, all of your little avatars show up together in there, and so you'd be scrolling through your friends list and be like, oh, they're all in a party together, and I know a couple of them. We've never really gotten something like that because I'm playing on Xbox, but I'm voice chat on Discord. Like, ultimately, it's better, but I kind of miss that ecosystem that it provided.
Sure, it's like you don't even use it anymore. Like the Xbox app has all those features, but I don't. Sometimes I message Jake on there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even when you and I played Forza the other night on Xbox, I was on Xbox, you were on the thing, you're like, we could do the Xbox chat, and I was like, at this point, it's just fucking Discord's easier. I guess we could have done that, but let's throw it on Discord. What are your thoughts on the 360?
Whose?
You. We kind of capitalized on you.
Me?
Yeah.
I thought I mentioned it already, but my thoughts on it,
with the console. We talked about the games and everything.
Oh, the console itself?
Absolute piece of crap.
Well, let's just say mine never had a red ring of death.
Really?
I also never modded the crap out of mine.
I think I went through 3 of them
in this chat.
Oh, and I modded it, but definitely went through 3 of them, and not because of modding, just because.
Speaking of modding, there is a community of people out there still modding Xbox 360s, and I think it's fascinating.
That's crazy.
There's people modding original Xboxes still.
Yeah.
I went on to like the original Xbox subreddit today or the other day to look up a fix for the one I just fixed, and people are like posting like crazy and upgrading hard drives, and it's wild.
There will come a time, and I swear, like, I don't know, quote me on this. Everything is gonna like come back full circle, and people will want retro consoles because there'll be some compatibility with like a newer device that comes out, and it's like, okay, I want to play my old Xbox and like see it in my 20K TV with this new backwards compatibility or something.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've gotten there much yet, but man, I would eventually like love to pick up some old consoles just to have. Like, just to look at.
Yeah, for sure.
even if you don't play them.
I think with the 360, I think like for me, why it stands out, well, and really it is the socialness of it, and the Xbox Live, like Summer of Arcade stuff that like Bastion.
Oh god, that costs so much money though.
I know, but Bastion came out and like all of that.
Bastion,
and, like, But I also think what was really like kind of interesting about the 360 is it took what the Xbox did with Halo 2 and like online multiplayer, and then it was like you can buy like a wireless adapter to plug into your Xbox 360 base console and get Wi-Fi, and then like every iteration.
That was the worst.
Yeah,
I had it, but it worked.
It worked, and then the Elite came out and that had Wi-Fi in it, and it was like they just kind of refined what consoles are to us now. Of like HDMI was introduced during the Xbox 360.
The Xbox 360 was the first console with wireless controllers in the box.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah. Forgot
it was
about
weird
that.
to think about, like, all controllers had to be 8 feet away from, or 6 inches away from your TV until the Xbox 360.
That controller too was perfect, like perfect size, like kind of.
They haven't changed it.
They nailed it basically.
It's the same thing.
They've changed little things, but
you guys didn't you didn't like the Duke controller?
No.
I don't know. I mean, it was fun when I was in first grade, like going to a friend's and playing.
No, it's terrible. I was just playing devil's advocate.
And the 360, I think, just had the lineage of games of Modern Warfare 4, which became so associated with 360. Halo 3, Skyrim was so like associated with 360. The PS3 version barely worked.
They and maybe this isn't necessarily their credit, but Microsoft was in a very unique position to just be the only social competitive thing on the market, and they really capitalized on a lot of that stuff with Summer of Arcade, with exclusives. They just had the populace's attention.
Yeah.
What was Summer of Arcade?
It was like they'd spotlight an indie every month or week for like a chunk of time. So like it was like 3 months, and they'd spotlight an indie game, and that's infamously where Bastion, like it was their first game they launched on that. Limbo was on there.
Hydro Thunder Hurricane.
Oh, of course, Hydro Thunder.
Pixel Junk Shooter or whatever it's called.
Geometry Wars.
Geometry Wars. I don't know what. Yep. That's what I was thinking of.
My name was so wrong. I made a game with zombies in it. Was that?
I made a game. That was $1.
Yeah.
That game was great.
Yeah,
they had an amazing song too.
They had the community, and they had the community was together. And it was a really cool thing.
It was
Do
fun.
you guys think it's gone downhill since?
Oh yeah.
Like
Community?
No.
Yes.
Well, I think
like
but
It's not the same. I mean, it's not like how it was. That's what I was
because
saying.
you can't have that anymore because that's everywhere else. Like
Yeah.
communities aren't on game consoles anymore. They're in Discord.
Yeah.
They're in
Yeah,
on
they're
Instagram.
Discords. They're on certain games,
Yeah.
and
Like
the community was like Xbox. You know,
our quality of lives in terms of gaming only gone up. Everything has gotten better in every way. But we don't have a single ecosystem anymore, and that I have nostalgia for the time when the only thing I needed to do was log into Xbox Live, and that was it.
Sure.
For my social engagement.
Yeah.
That was all you needed.
No more
Used to
like,
be- used to be
what are
pretty
you
bad.
doing? Where are you playing? I need to
Yeah.
text you. It was just like, I'm going to log in, and everybody I care about is going to be doing something in this system.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Oh
Yeah.
god, I remember logging in and be like 7 friends online. Be like, oh, who's playing what? Like that never happens to me anymore.
No.
Yeah, I think I've told this story on the podcast. Our freshman year of high school, we had a group of boys who would hang out outside, who all exchanged gamer tags at one point,
And wore leather jackets.
but like this group grew. Like there was like 35 kids at some point. Like there was a ton
In
of
leather
kids
jackets?
No.
Oh.
Just like exchanging gamer tags. So in Modern
everyone played
Warfare,
360.
Modern Warfare 2, launch week. I logged in on a Wednesday or Thursday, and just everybody was playing the same game. Everybody was partied up. It was a very cool thing.
Oh, I remember that. Like always watching your friends list and everyone's playing the same game. Like that was always like a crazy feeling.
Is a monoculture good? Probably not. But was that really fun? Yes,
That's
definitely.
great. Do you want to know a fun fact about me in Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah.
You never played it?
No, I have.
Suck?
Okay. Whew.
The week that Modern Warfare 2 came out, I had the swine flu. And I got it while insanely sick with the swine flu on my mom's couch. And I was like quarantined on the couch. And I just played Modern Warfare 2 for like 4 straight days.
That's amazing.
It was incredible.
That sounds
the best week of my life. All right, James, I want to drop to you. Give me a console. We all had the Xbox 360 on our lists.
I think I'm gonna go down. 360 is probably like my last console. But the one before that I probably played an outrageous amount is the PlayStation 2. I didn't own an Xbox, which I don't know. Did anyone else here own an original Xbox?
I owned an original Xbox.
Okay, just Jake. But I had a friend who did. Yes, now you do.
As of like a month ago, I have one.
My friend had an original Xbox. I had the PlayStation 2, so we would play on there. But holy crap, I put so many hours in there. And then it, watch movies on there with DVDs. But in terms of the robustness, it's probably the best console I've ever had, because I went through like 3 or 4 360s, and I still have the same PlayStation 2 from 2003, and it's still running.
Yeah.
And it's fucking amazing. That was such a well-built thing. And it also, you could have the internet attachment, but who wants to play SOCOM? But the best thing about it is the 007 games. You could play like Nightfire, Agent Under Fire, and you could have the attachment to have 4 players, and it just worked. It, and the startup sound,
I have the story about the internet attachment. Actually, did
you get it?
Did you ever have one?
No, never.
So I had one. I traded a guy at our school. I don't remember if it was elementary school or high school. Do you guys remember Gabe Paletti?
Gabe,
anyway,
Gabe. Yeah.
So he wanted a game that I had, and he traded me the internet attachment, which I realize now today was a terrible trade, because the game I traded him was called Conflict Desert Storm. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It's super obscure.
I think that was a real thing.
Desert Storm, Desert Storm was a real thing.
I think Desert Storm was real.
Yeah.
No, of course Desert Storm was real, but what is the Conflict Desert Storm?
It was just when we had conflict in the time of Desert Storm.
Yeah.
You traded them the conflict?
No, that's what it was based on. I don't know what you...
Well, why was that a bad trade for you? I thought the internet cost like $100 or something like that.
I cannot find the game anywhere.
Oh, okay, that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a rare game.
And I never used the internet thing. I literally never used it.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I was like, the internet thing was like hard to set up, and I remember having like a friend's cousin set it up and was playing with it, but it was just...
But
it wasn't like 360.
It was the way to get the hard drive. If you wanted to put a hard drive in your PS2, that's how you did it.
Oh, interesting.
I just had memory cards. I didn't
If
really...
it makes you feel better, Conflict Desert Storm is worth $3.
Well, I'm gonna buy it.
I'm gonna buy it.
All right. Thank you, Ted. He got the better trade.
I never played a PlayStation 2. I've played,
Wow.
but I've never owned one. And I played
Same.
maybe
I've not.
Jack and Daxter once on it.
Yeah.
So I never really
No,
played. We had Xboxes all on my street when I was a kid.
It was all about Crash Bandicoot, and ATV Off-Road Fury was the best game ever.
Oh my god, that was a great game.
That game had the best soundtrack, and it was the most fun riding this ATV.
That was the
Oh,
best.
best
Oh,
game
that was
ever.
a good one.
Might be the
Best
only
selling
people that talk
console.
about PlayStation 2 without Metal Gear Solid talked about.
Never played it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I never
none of
played
us
it
have.
either.
That's so
No.
funny.
Yeah, that was a
Oh,
a PS2
Dragon Ball Z
game
Budokai 3.
for gamers.
Ooh.
I never played that.
Oh, it was one of the best fighting games. God damn, was it a good game.
I played the
Game's gonna be
Simpsons
worth
hit and
about
run on that
$3.
one.
Budokai 3? No way. It's definitely going to be worth more.
Give me a
That's
price
a
check,
legendary
Ted.
game. Ted, price check me Budokai 3.
I don't want to type all that in.
I have it still. Just to play it.
Any final thoughts on the PS2?
It's the best-selling console of all time. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
you can't argue
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It achieved that like Wii status of like they were making games for the PS2 that were not gamer games, like long past
Well,
its prime.
You know why
Yeah,
it's like the best-selling console, right? Like the actual reason.
Like it
Yeah,
was a
but-
DVD.
It was a
player.
DVD player. And
Yeah,
it
the
was like
DVD
as
player.
cheap as
Yeah.
DVD player, so people just buy
Basically,
it.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
that's what I remember. Like, at the time, it was like DVD players were so expensive. And like,
They had a $100 version
my
of the
family
PS2.
used this as a DVD player and we played it. And it was,
Yeah.
great thing ever.
That's how I convinced my dad to get a PS3 because I was like, you could play Blu-rays on it, and I can play
Oh, you deep player.
like
All right,
what?
Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3
Yes.
is worth like $50.
Wow!
I got a copy.
A lot more
Let's
than
go.
Conflict Desert Storm
Yeah.
over here.
Budokai 3 is the game. Don't give me that Ted Kaiichi bullshit.
Top 10 game of all
I
time.
think he's just saying stuff.
No.
What
Ted.
about you, Jake?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I'll
Jake-
go. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go.
well, yeah.
Ted, I'm
I already
gonna
went.
I'm gonna speak to maybe you a little bit. I didn't rank my consoles in order, so I had Xbox 360, and I want to talk about the GameCube.
Hell yeah. That's on my list.
I
Okay,
never
cool.
had one.
The,
You never had a GameCube? Oh,
I never had one.
Oh my.
The Nintendo
That was
GameCube
new.
is like such a weird console. It's obviously
Beautiful.
Ted. Why is it the best console? Give me the reason.
It's got a handle.
It's got a handle. You can
Small
carry
discs.
Yeah, 100%.
it. Small
yeah.
discs. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was just such a great Nintendo console that was like really neglected by third parties. It was like when Nintendo was like really at the bottom of its like barrel of like it didn't have the support, but they were making these just incredible games for this console. Wind Waker was freaking on there. Melee, like Double Dash, like any of those games that came out there. Mario Strikers, some of the great sports Mario games of all time. And it's just such like a great like Nintendo library and really nothing else. Like they didn't have a lot of third party support. It didn't have like some. Yeah, Ted.
The GameCube is weird.
Yeah.
It's
It had
weird
a
for
handle.
me. I don't know about you guys. It had a handle. I grew up in a Nintendo community. I didn't really have consoles growing up, but everybody I knew had consoles growing up, and everybody had Nintendo.
Yeah.
So GameCube was just what was available. Like you played GameCube games or you played computer games, and you were a nerd. And so
Ted
like
was a nerd.
yeah, and hearing like, 15, 20 years after the fact that like third parties didn't support the GameCube, wasn't well liked at the time, capital G gamers didn't like it, just always baffles me because I'm like, that's all we played. And they were all first party Nintendo games that were usually variations of a sports game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And they were all fantastic.
Yeah.
That console, and it's one of the few consoles that I have bought as an adult and still have in a box somewhere, because they just had a whole bunch of fun, arcadey, party-esque first-party games that like just were great.
Yeah.
They had a Mario soccer game, Mario baseball,
Melee.
Mario tennis, Mario fighting, Mario golf. Like everything started with Mario, but they were all great.
Had the best Mario Party.
It had the worst actual Mario game though.
Yes, it did.
Which
Sunshine. Sunshine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sunshine.
Sunshine!
Yeah.
I did not like
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
I think and it was very. I mean, Metroid Prime, like they reinvented. some
Prime was
series.
amazing. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Wind Waker is one of those like just
Yep.
great games. It had at one moment it had like all of the Zelda games on there. You could get this like special edition disc that had all of the 3D Zeldas.
Same
and
with Sonic. You can get the
Sonic
Sonic
had that.
like this.
You had Star Fox Adventure, which is the fucking strangest game they've ever made ever, which is
Yeah.
Fox
Like
McCloud
that
goes to a dinosaur planet, and it's a third-person action game. Bizarre.
That was a weird game.
Yeah, it's a weird game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have a lot of great memories of the GameCube, and it was just such a weird
Same.
console.
Yeah,
and
I was actually. We'll talk a teeny bit about this later, but I was having a discussion with my roommates on the couch, as you do, about kind of how split screen's dead. Jake, I don't think you were there for some of this over the phone.
Yeah.
And like, it's funny to think that like, yeah, split screen's kind of dead.
Yeah.
It just is. Unless someone's actively going after that aesthetic, it's not around. And the GameCube was like built for a split screen for a sleepover party night, right?
Yep.
We joke, but it had a handle. It was
it
meant
was
to be
built
portable.
to take over to your friend's house.
It was portable. It
was very
had
easy.
It was, 4 people were supposed to plug in very easily.
Mm-hmm.
And all the games were 4-player compatible, split screen. Let's have a good time and be competitive games. This console like stands the test of time in that going to college and the super senior years post college, people were still playing GameCube games.
Yeah.
When I was in college, Double Dash and Mario Party 4 were the 2 games that like
those are the games.
Those were your rite of passage in the dorm room. Those hit their like 20-year anniversaries while I was in college, and people were just dead set like, no, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, but I lived with you in like
Mario Party 4.
2017. We played Double Dash all the time.
Yeah,
like, that's just like what
exactly.
we did.
You guys played Mario Strikers too. Remember?
Yeah, we played Strikers. I used to
it's
whoop Ted's
fantastic.
ass in Strikers.
I was not good at Strikers.
Give me the teams. Remember those?
Waluigi, baby.
It's really cool, and I think it encapsulates a part of video game culture that just isn't really going to come back.
Yeah,
unless the Ouya really takes off.
Oh God.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So I like the GameCube.
Gunner, do you have another console we haven't spoke about yet?
My other one was the PlayStation 2.
Okay.
And you guys chastised the Dreamcast, so.
I want to talk. So why do you love the Dreamcast?
Tell us how fun
what's
Sega Rally really is.
So my actual one would probably be the 64, the Nintendo 64. That's what I actually wrote. But I also have the Dreamcast on here because for me, the Dreamcast was always like
Dreamcast
this
is scribbled
thing
out.
of like wonder. Like I always wondered, like I have
what is this controller?
What went wrong?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like,
Sega wonders that too.
I didn't own it. Like when it came out, I got it like probably 10 years later because my uncle had one, and every time I'd go over there, that's all I would do is ask to play the Dreamcast. And like there were just these games that were just like nothing else except for Sonic Adventure, which honestly pretty great. But it's just like nothing you recognize on the Xbox or the PlayStation and Nintendo. It's like, who are these characters? And like, what is this thing that you put in the controller that you take out and apparently it does something?
Card.
Yeah. And it's just, to me, it was just like the wonder of it. Like, I want to know more about it. It also was the first internet connected console ever.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it had internet.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It did have internet. You could browse the internet.
Did you know? Do you want the fun little fact about the like internet connectivity with consoles? There was a moment in time where the NES in Japan would have this little adapter that would get
coax cable,
the Famicom,
like a TV signal, right?
Yeah, and it would just get like stock information and like sports scores and stuff.
I remember
like,
that. Yeah,
it wasn't like
there's a game that you could play.
Yeah,
that would do that.
Yeah, and like they would just basically like receive like almost like a radio signal of like information that it would just display on your TV.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, the NES. Yeah, just wild. Sorry, I didn't mean to get you guys.
Japan's whack.
Did you guys ever own anything older than like a Dreamcast or
64? And 64 is my first console.
That was mine.
I was gonna say
I was
like,
gifted that.
in the time period or like post, because I bought a lot of.
No, just wondering.
Because
like I had friends with like Super Nintendo or old Nintendo, and that was
fun. I do own an NES, but my stepdad is the original owner of it, so I don't know if that counts.
No, that's fine. No, that counts. Yeah,
totally.
But yeah, I still have it. It's in the closet and it still works.
That's
and it has some pretty sick games. I also have the Duck Hunt and the controller.
Oh really?
My God.
Duck Hunt.
Wow.
Which is pretty sick. Double Dragon, a couple classics, and similarly to the Dreamcast, like I never had one, so anytime I went over to his house, I'd be like, "Oh, I want to play it," and he'd always have it set up on a little TV on the coffee table for me to play.
That's super cool.
Good memories.
My neighbor down the street where I was growing up had the Sega Genesis, and I would go down there and we'd play Sonic, and it was fucking incredible. Like just going down there playing Sonic like as a kid.
Oh yeah, Sonic as a
You'd
kid
always
was
just play
awesome.
like the first 3 levels and that's it.
Yeah.
But replayability, oh, that was fun.
James, what is another console on your list?
I mean, all 3 of those are mine. I mean, I guess 64 would be the last, and I guess we both owned it. I was given it by like I think my dad's coworker in 2000. Yeah, I think I was in kindergarten, and he was just getting rid of it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm buying an Xbox or something like that," and he gave me the console, Super Mario 64, his save file, which was just beaten. Was like, okay, it's fine. I'm just gonna play my own. A fight stick. Super Smash Brothers, the original.
This explains a lot about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and man, like there's a couple other games. The original Donkey Kong 64.
Okay.
And one other game I can't remember. I think it was like some racing game. God. Oh, F-Zero.
Oh yeah.
Oh, F-Zero. Okay.
Those were the games given to me and played, and it was wow. That was great growing up with that. And Paper Mario eventually came out. Like, oh, fuck, beautiful.
The N64 was great. That was my first console I've ever gotten. I've told it on this on the podcast, but
same here.
It was. Yeah. I mean, Ocarina of Time came with it, so it was like my life was about Ocarina of Time and like how the fuck do I beat this game as a kid, and not understanding. I did not have the mental capacity to beat a Zelda game as a 5-year-old. But like, and then just the stuff that like Star Fox 64 and N64 was a great like intro to video game console. GoldenEye.
Mario Party 2, which was okay, but
I mean, but like Donkey Kong 64 and
Donkey Kong 64 is incredible.
Banjo-Kazooie. Yeah, like games like that just kind of came out, and then there's other games that were.
I don't know if you guys were like this, but in this time period, it was like sometimes you didn't own all these games. You just go and rent them from your Blockbuster. And you get a game for the weekend or the week and play, and oh my god.
Funny story about that, and you mentioned Banjo-Kazooie. My copy of Banjo-Kazooie still has a Blockbuster sticker on it.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Never returned because I think I forgot.
I lost.
They might want that back.
Yeah.
I lost a copy of Star Wars Rogue Squadron on N64, and it cost my mom like $80.
Wow.
And then when we were moving out of our house like 8 years later, we found it.
Best $80 you ever spent.
I know, right? I gotta keep it.
Hell yeah.
Ted, do you have another console on your list to kind of just discuss?
No, I wrote down the N64 just because that was my mystique. I never owned an N64. Kind of too young for it, but that's what other people's older brothers had. So playing it and being bad at it because they were older than me was just a fantastically fun experience. The controllers just whack.
Yep. We've
talked about it, I think, a couple weeks ago.
All the time on this podcast. We hate that controller.
I love that controller so much.
I love that controller.
I love it.
It's so great.
It's bad, but it's great.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it's bad but good.
Yeah, and kind of just going along that same idea of the GameCube, it had 4 controller ports and games that were meant for 4 people.
Yeah.
And so it was a great way to distract a group of kids for a while.
Yeah, and that was the time.
It was definitely the best when it came out.
No console had 4 controller ports.
Yeah.
That was like
it was the best on the 64-bit.
Yeah.
And then they went downhill, and then the other stuff took off, but they were the best around that point. I mean, people can argue the original PlayStation 2 was good, which I'd say it is, but 64 was like
Rumble Pack was introduced in
N64 so much.
I mean, the N64 controller can handle StarCraft, so
it's true.
Which I bought way after the fact, and I'm very happy with that purchase. It's horrendous to play. Jesus. It's so much fun to play that because it's so tough.
Yeah,
it's so ridiculously bad.
StarCraft 64.
God, what a fun console.
So I put the N64 on my list. I put the Wii with a question mark.
Please God.
So I was thinking about this recently. This is completely unrelated to the topic because that would imply that I prepared.
Yeah.
So I think if the Wii came out maybe a little bit later, if the Wii, because you guys remember the Wii, you held 2 controllers and you had to point them at that sensor bar. Do you guys remember this?
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. I was thinking about if I didn't have to point, if I could just like hold them in my lap or like not have to point them, I think I might rate the Wii a little bit better. The Wii was my first console that I ever bought. I made my dad wait in line at a Circuit City on a Thursday. We called out sick from school.
Nice.
And I got a Wii. and then I played it and realized it wasn't that good.
Well, I'm gonna actually argue with you on that.
I am
Yeah.
also going to argue with that.
Oh, you guys are Wii
I'm not gonna
apologists?
argue with you, Ted.
I mean, listen. That shop channel music, fantastic. The Me Maker,
Insane.
one of the best.
you know,
There are a whole bunch of like cultural aspects to the Wii that I actually think are really important. But in terms of like a console that I woke up in the morning on Saturday and wanted to play, the Wii was not that.
The Wii didn't have. Oh, sorry, James.
Oh, sorry. It's just I like, you know how he said he waited in line. I don't know if you guys did, but I tried getting a Wii for so long and like asked my mom for so long to like try and get one. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just get a 360 and see what happens. That was probably the best decision I ever
that's
made.
Probably pretty
No,
good.
I spent a week and a half convincing my parents that the Wii would be a good family fitness activity, and that's what sealed the deal on them buying it for me.
You couldn't get the console when it was coming. Like, it was impossible to get. Everyone
My grandmother owned a Wii.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I think the Wii was really great though for
Bowling.
Bowling was very great on the Wii. That is correct. Yeah. I think first off, Nintendo exclusives for the first few years on that console are insane. They're great. Galaxy, Twilight Princess, Brawl, Mario Kart Wii.
I hated all of them.
You're insane.
Mario Kart Wii was
I
good.
know. Because I got
Good.
Twilight Princess, and my cousin got Twilight Princess for the GameCube.
Oh yeah.
And so to have to wiggle
the GameCube version's better.
Oh my god, the GameCube.
I was stuck wiggling and doing this thing, and then I went over to his house, and then he was like, "I just play with a controller," and
you're like, fuck.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I didn't realize that the Wii had like GameCube.
Yeah, the Wii was a GameCube. Yeah.
Like if I had been a little more woke as a kid, I would have just made that my GameCube, and it would have been fantastic. But I didn't. I was too dumb, so I was just stuck
doing that.
Doing my
but
wiggling.
Virtual Console on the Wii was great.
Yeah.
I mean, you could get every Nintendo game before that, besides GameCube. It could be played there. It was a great hub, but unfortunately, the support got really shitty by the end.
Yeah. I guess, and I don't remember this from the time, but when Skyward Sword flopped is when a lot of people were like,
"Yeah,
this is not going to be the thing that we thought it was going to be."
Yeah.
I still have a Wii. That's my GameCube device at this point because it has better connectors.
Yeah, people basically would use those at tournaments because it was a better GameCube, basically.
Yeah, it's got component cables, which is really nice. But my actual third choice here is going to be the Sega Genesis, which we've talked about briefly.
Nice. Yeah.
I never played it at the time. I only came back to it when I was in college. I ended up buying one at one point and playing Earthworm Jim and games like that.
Nice.
But the Genesis has a grittiness to it. I don't want to say shittiness because that's not the right word, but it has like a 90s
got grit.
grime to it. It's fuzzy at the edges, literally, you know?
Do you know why it has that grime, Ted?
Their sound chip is weird.
No, because James, Sega does what?
Nintendo.
Oh my god. Yeah. And so going back and playing not even first party Sega games, but like even just games made back then, they all just have this like you could tell this is a 90s game feel to them in a not in like a fun way, in like a way.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of respect for it for that. And I think it's really cool. I think it's a great encapsulation of that time period, and also kind of just, you know, the Master System was huge in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of seeing like, you know, this was still in an era where like Japan made the games and then we just liked them.
Yeah.
It was not the other way around. And so going back and playing old Genesis games, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. It's America
it's a lot of
diving
fun.
in.
Yeah, it's fun. The Genesis is a very fun console to go back through with emulators and other not legal methods. And just be like, what is happening? Also, it had a 6-button controller, which is the only way to play fighting games. So,
true.
There you go.
And they dropped the ball though. Like Sega had it.
There's a whole book about it.
Yeah, no,
they lost it.
Well, yeah, what Sega didn't believe in 3D was going to be a thing at the wrong time.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. With
a year before the PlayStation came out, they were like, "We're going to stick with pixel art."
Yeah, and they launched a console too fast after the other one. That's a whole mess. The only thing, the last console I wanted to just briefly talk about, and I won't take too much time on it, but is the PlayStation. What?
I was going to say we've said all of them.
Yeah, the PlayStation 4 for me is one of my favorite consoles, and purely because it's what kind of made me love gaming as, like, I guess, an adult. It really like made that the gaming ecosystem kind of condensed. There's the word, condensed down into the PlayStation. And I struggled with if it was PS3 or PS4 that made me fall in love with Sony. And PS3 started that love of like Uncharted and Last of Us, and then the just myriad of exclusives that PS4 had. And it's got some of the best third-person action games, probably the best ever.
Yep. I love my PS4.
Yeah, just again and again. And I think it's such a great console. It sold very well, obviously, but like kind of got a little like, it's the PS4, whatever. Like, but it really is.
I was going to say, that's how I feel about it.
You know,
I think
yeah.
my love of the PS4 will grow with time if you let it.
I can't wait for more games to come out for Jake to say, man, the PS5 is just the best console ever.
Well,
it has the Last of Us 4.
And that's what I think it's going to be, is the PS5 is just going to continue that love of Sony.
Because there's going to be so many great first-party games that are coming out. And
I just think what we were talking about, though, is how Sony handled the PS4 and how they managed that console. I think was just so well done in like a term of like industry management and standards that I think it's really interesting to see what the PlayStation 5 does, where we see the Xbox doing a very different route because of the Xbox One. PS4 just was such a runaway success and continued it all the way till the end of the PS4. So it's just a great console. Yeah.
Yep. And my number one, PC. That's it.
All right, cut in.
Thank you guys so much for watching the Thesideescape Gaming Podcast, episode 79. That's crazy to say. It's a big number. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for watching.
Wait, are we actually leaving?
Oh, I thought we were going to. I thought you were done.
I want to talk about Halo for a second.
Oh, yeah.
You just talked about you don't want to talk about the PS4, and I'm not going to talk about Halo.
All right, so before we go, let's talk like a few minutes on Halo Infinite. The beta of the entire multiplayer Season 1 dropped early.
Came out last week.
It is the entire...
This week.
Well, no, last week in our podcast times.
Last week.
But yeah, it dropped early on the 20th anniversary of Xbox. It is the entire multiplayer Season 1. They're just in beta.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ted?
Well, I was going to ask, show of hands, who's played it? Is it just Jake and I? Have you guys touched it at all?
Jake's played it.
With it?
I've touched it.
I've not played it.
I kind of have mixed feelings. Which is why I wanted to bring it up.
Okay.
I don't know. Something about it feels a little bit funky, and I've been trying to put my finger on it. So we talked about it in our Halo Impressions video a lot. So I don't want to dig into like a lot of the specifics, but I got to play it.
It's still beta, and there's not a lot of features that are going to be present once it's fully released.
Yeah, so I got to stick my hands on it. I think I am having a really tough time with kind of the aiming, if that's specifically the zoom. Almost every gun in this game can zoom, and it doesn't feel earned.
I don't think you're supposed to zoom.
Don't zoom.
Yeah,
that's basically
because we spent a lot of time talking about like the Xbox, but like if there's this aim down sights, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah,
that's just how I grew up.
That's not what you do for Halo.
Yeah, and so like they kind of added a whole bunch of zooms to guns.
Yeah,
that I don't know.
You only zoom on the battle rifle and the snipers,
right?
And the rocket launcher, but don't zoom on any other like the pistols or anything.
Right. But and I think it's kind of along that same line of like you can sprint now in a Halo, which sprinting feels very natural in a shooter, but not in a Halo, if that makes sense.
Well, the sprint's been there for a while. It's fine.
Yeah, and kind of
what about the grapple? What do you like about the grapple?
See,
stuff.
It's really fun when it works, but because it's an item, because it's a dropped consumable, I never want to use it. I am scared. So I get the grappling hook, and then I'm like, I'm not just gonna waste this flying around the map because that'd be wasteful. I'm gonna wait until like I see someone running away, and I'm gonna catch up.
Get a gun.
Yeah.
Catch-ups.
And so like there are just these little things that I'm struggling to get used to, which might be the most old man thing I've ever said.
This ain't my Halo I played back in the day.
Literally, that's kind of how I'm feeling about it.
I think it plays great. I think the one thing I don't like is that like I can't just like queue up for a certain mode, but it's like everything's action sack.
That's beta related. They're stressed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's beta, and that's fine. But I think it's you're gonna get like a little bit like bored if that's how they're gonna keep doing it. Like I'd rather like have it different playlists. And
I hope they do actually, because Call of Duty is a great example of this. If you try and play Call of Duty, well, they've changed it up recently, but Call of Duty is like a deathmatch game, and like nobody wants to play objectives unless there's a daily quest or you can farm XP. And Halo for me has always been like just goofing around. So if I'm gonna play, if you want me to play oddball, let's play oddball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not like a Slayer or nothing type person.
That being said, oddball is actually very fun in this game. They changed oddball up in a fun way.
You can't insta kill people with the ball.
But the way it works is fun.
That's wrong.
I don't think you're wrong, Ted, saying that something does feel a little weird. James, are you playing on controller or PC and mouse?
I started playing PC mouse, and I'm gonna probably switch to controller. But PC mouse feels, smooth.
Yeah.
So it's
maybe
good.
stick to PC and mouse. I think this game feels a little funky on controller.
Yeah.
Really?
It's Halo has always been snappy.
Mm-hmm.
Halo feels good on a controller. It's one of these games where I play mouse and keyboard for most shooters, definitely. This is the first time Halo has always been.
Yeah.
I used to go back to controller because it just feels snappy. It feels good. This is the first time where like I feel like my cursor or reticle is lagging because I'm using a controller. Jake, I don't know if that's what you're speaking of, but I feel like I'm.
Are you playing on
not...
Series X?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and I've really adjusted the sensitivity to like try to get to where it feels better. I think the melee on controller is not very good on that right stick.
Oh,
I ended up switching
that?
it. You can't.
You can,
okay.
but I don't like. I feel like the controls. Everything else feels pretty good except the melee. So when you move the melee for me, it's like, well, then I'm just kind of feeling off anyway.
I found I think it's the button puncher option. Is
Are you a B meleeer?
B meleeer.
Yeah, same.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that feels way good. But you can also set it to bumper melee like the original.
You can change every binding. You can change every binding too, yeah.
But yeah, something feels just a little bit off. And maybe it is a compensation for mouse and keyboard. I'm not entirely sure, but it feels a little sluggish in a way that doesn't feel good. It makes me feel like I'm losing.
I would say that I think that the gameplay of the game is incredible. Like, it is just smooth, but I do think the controller system there is something off there.
Yeah, and maybe this is just I have missed the last 2 Halo games, and there are a lot of weapons that I just don't understand, which is really funny because I'm sure there are thousands of people who have picked up, I don't know, the fuel rod gun and gone, what the fuck is this? But I'm like, it's a fuel rod gun. You stick the thing in, you shoot it. It makes total sense.
Yeah.
But this is the first time I'm picking up the non-human guns and just going like, what is this supposed to do? Oh, it shoots 3 shots in an arc? That's weird. Again, that might just be like, I need to get used to it, but it felt a little funky.
Yeah, it's all new weapons. I think you'll get used to all the new weapons.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm a teeny bit lukewarm about it.
Interesting. I'm pretty positive on it. I'm very excited to keep playing. The battle system has problems, but the battle pass.
Yeah, the battle pass
be fixed.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts on Halo? Are you good?
That was it. I just wanted to say my thing on Halo.
Okay. We're gonna talk a lot more about Halo in the future. Gunner, any thoughts on Halo? You haven't played it.
I have not played it, but
Eventually, once Forza is done.
I fixed that original Xbox and I popped in Halo 2 literally yesterday. So
beautiful.
How's the frame rate?
Ted,
12.
you mentioned that it feels slow and bulky, and I just played Halo 2 on the original Duke controller. I'm like, oh man, this was not great.
I don't know what you're talking about. That sounds great.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah.
But that's all I have.
Well, that's perfect. Thank you guys so much for watching the 79th episode of the Sideescape Gaming Podcast. I'm Jake. That's Gunner. That's Ted. That's James. And we will see you next week. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Aw, yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.